Well, hello everyone and welcome back. This week what I thought I would talk about is one of the commercial properties that I'm currently working with an investor. And it is a commercial single user building. It has about 3,500 square feet and it's about 1.2 million. I thought I would work through this with you and show you some of the issues that you may want to consider when looking at this type of property. Okay, let's get started. Okay, so let's take a look at this property. What I'm going to do, first of all, is look at it from the point of view of the prospective buyer, and then I'm going to go back and discuss a few issues with this property that exist because of the previous owner or the current owner of the property. So let's run through this rather quickly. As I mentioned, the tenant is paying in base rent $6,250 per month. And that was carried across here, which equates to rent payments of $75,000. In addition to this, it is a triple net building, so the tenant is responsible for all the operating expenses of the property. A couple of the expenses are handled differently, and those two expenses would be property taxes and insurance. In this case, the landlord must actually pay the expenses, and then they bill the expenses back to the tenant, and the tenant is charged on a monthly basis for those expenses. So the property taxes for the new owner, once the escrow closes, will go up to $14,760. And the other expense that the landlord must pay is the insurance on the property. It's $3,000, but again, that expense also is recoverable by the owner. The process, again, is just that the landlord pays it and then bills it all back to the tenant. The only other expense we put on the operating statement is the management fee. The management fee cannot be passed back to the tenant. That's one expense that's just different. Again, other than that, all the other expenses are paid for by the tenant, and that is why you don't see any numbers here. They're paying them. Given that, so the net operating income would be $70,362. And then I went ahead and just to be able to see the numbers, I put a loan on the property at a 70% loan to value, and the purchase price was $1,200,000. 70% of that works out to, and I'll go down near the bottom. The loan would be $840,000. Okay, going back up. During the first year, the principal and interest payments are here. So the total payment over the year would be $57,233, which leaves a cash flow after debt service of $13,128 and some change. Now, actually, in the analysis, I could probably stop right there because I can already see where these numbers are going, but I'll show you real quickly some of the others. The tax analysis, well, this buyer, who I've known for many years, he will not be able to enjoy some of the tax benefits other than the deduction of interest and depreciation. So you'll have that. But there wouldn't be any passive loss on the property. We have that. This is passive income. All right. And then the internal rate of return for this investment, if it went the full 5 years, would be 3.4%. So the return is very low. I would normally work through the sensitivity analysis here, and I'm going to do that in the next presentation that I do. But I'm not going to do it here. It's just not worth it. Let's go back up to the top. Right off the bat, I would be telling the owner that this property just doesn't have the potential return in it. The tenant that is in there was put in this property just about, maybe 8 months ago. In the tenant's mind, they're paying market rents right now, and they probably are. It's market rents. But we have to look at this a little closer because I'm anticipating some pushback from the tenant if the deal goes through. And that's because I ran some other numbers here. The current property taxes as the property sits is $10,960 per year. And I also looked through their numbers, the seller's numbers, and they're only passing through $8,148, which equates to monthly of $679. That's what they're doing. I'm not sure exactly how they calculated it. I think they made a mistake, but that is exactly what's going on right now. After the sale, the amount that's being charged back to the tenant will be $17,760. And by the way, and I put that down here, $17,000, which is the $14,000 in property taxes plus $3,000 in the insurance. That's $17,760. All I did is divided that by 12. That has a monthly pass-through to the tenant of $1,480. Now look at this. As I mentioned, the tenant is currently paying $679. So the tenant is going to have a significant bump in rent. In fact, it will increase by $801 per month. The difference between $1,480 and $679 is $801. That is a big jump in rent. And again, I thinking from the perspective of the tenant, there's going to be significant pushback on this. And I don't believe this owner would have explained to them that in the future, property taxes would go up because his property taxes are low. So he's going to have a big increase in rent. For that reason alone, I've told the owner to go ahead and pass on this property. That is going to be nothing but problems for this tenant. Again, it's the situation where they have recently signed a lease, thought they're paying market rent. Now, all of a sudden, the rent is going to jump because they're responsible for the property taxes on the property, which are going to increase significantly after the sale. My company would probably be responsible for the property management. I don't want to have to deal with this. All right. It's possible that there is a silver lining in all of this. If you expect that the value of the property will increase significant within the next 5 years or so, well, you might want to consider that. I looked at the ratio analysis that we did. Cash flow after taxes, it was positive, so that's okay. But again, the appreciation was only going to be 3%. But if you thought that number was going to go up, and that's what I would have normally done here in the sensitivity analysis, there might be a possibility to increase the rate of return over the term of the investment. All right. Okay, I have just a couple more comments to make, so let's move on. Well, that property didn't work out exactly like I thought it would. I think maybe we could have negotiated with the owner to get a better price, and that would have increased the returns. But the problem that exists with the tenants because of the increase in rent, I just don't think that transaction had a chance at all. Next week, we're going to look at a golf course. I normally don't get involved in anything like this anymore, but one of my clients wants to see this and wants to see the numbers. And this one I'll be able to show you some of the pictures and describe exactly what is going on. So make sure you check back about that. If you get a chance, if you wouldn't mind, please like, subscribe, and share. I would appreciate it. Thank you.